And welcome to the show, Al Islam and Community Issues. My name is Naeem Sharif. We have a special guest today, Brother Benjamin Shabazz. Brother Benjamin Shabazz, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you in so many ways. Right. If you would just open up the show with a brief dua. Dua is a short prayer.
All right. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I seek refuge with Allah from the rejected enemies, Shaitan the devil. With the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Ameen.
Amen. And on that note, we need mercy. What did Marvin Gaye say? Mercy, mercy, me.
Mercy, mercy, mercy.
I told a gentleman last night, we were talking, he was tired, man. He said, Lord have mercy. I said, man, that's the African American's theme song. It's Lord have mercy. Yes, we need the Creator's mercy. We don't necessarily want His justice, but we sure want His mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I do. I don't know about the rest of y'all. Yes, sir. So today we wanted to talk about, common sense things that people do, and then you kind of, if you look at them and you kind of say, why did we do that? So we're going to jump around a lot of different subjects. Hopefully the subjects will help somebody and make life a little bit easier. So where do you want to start?
Okay, my brother. I noticed something that I've done for a long time. I watched other people do it. When you sit down to eat food, have your meal.
Yes.
Before tasting the food, you automatically reach for the salt shaker and put salt on it.
Oh, you talking about me, brother? You talking about me? Because I put a little salt in it just because, and a little pepper and so forth. But the one time that you do it, then you say, oh man, I done messed up here. Yeah. Yeah,
and so, in the light of today's health consciousness, that salt can be a problem for people. But to put it on your food without even tasting the food, that was the thing.
That was the thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I grew up like that. I mean, salt was on the table, and that's the first, you ready to reach for it already.
Already, yeah.
Just already. So it's things we do without comments, without even investigating why do we do that? It's just a habit,
Well, the next time I go to a restaurant, I'm gonna taste it first, and then I'll see where it's at. Yes.
Here's one that is really, I think, is the most outstanding one, is people crossing the street without looking both ways.
Oh, man. That is, they don't look, the light will change, and they will go across the street like a horse with blinders.
Right.
They won't look, they just assume that everything's okay. And I know you see them, especially downtown.
Yes.
Oh my God, and they're on the phone, looking at where they're going and what they got to do, they have not looked up. Mack truck could be coming down.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know it. Yeah, that's scary. And I see people all the time. They don't look, they just cross.
That's real scary.
Yeah. Because I know one thing in driving in the Seattle area, it's frustrating because people, they don't go when the light is green. And then, then by the time it's your turn, the light is turned red. But one thing we were taught, when the light turns green, wait 2 seconds to make sure no cars are, run the red light, So 2 seconds is good. Not 5 or 10, but like 2 seconds. You look left, and then you look right to make sure no cars come. And then, like you say, with the pedestrians, now there's a joke that I've heard, and like you got a white person walking across the crosswalk, just a regular crosswalk, and they're like, oh, dee-dee-da-da-da-da-da, I'm just generalizing, dee-dee-da. Oh, no, in their mind, subconsciously, nobody's going to hit them. Got a black person walking across the street, and their mind is, you better not hit me. So two different kind of thought patterns on that. But and it's a joke, but we've kind of seen those dynamics, So it's what Paul Mooney says, race plays in a lot of things in society. You know, even crossing the street, you know.
Paul Mooney's my man.
Yeah, even something that simple, you know, white person, oh, da-da-da, nobody's going to hit me. You're not thinking, you know, unconsciously, nobody's going to hit me. The black person is, I dare you to hit me, you know. So that's it. So yeah, that pedestrian and, you know, the way they've changed the traffic signals, especially downtown, and, you know, you got like on 2nd Avenue, you're coming just before Yesler. There's a light for the pedestrian. There's a light for the bicycle people riding on their bikes. You got another light for people who are driving their car. So you got to look and check 4 lights to make sure you're doing it right. And then you hesitate because you don't want to mess up, because if you mess up, the police are around the corner and give you a ticket. And then, you know, plus you don't want to hit anybody.
Right.
So you're looking on 2nd and Yesler, you're looking at 4 lights. I'm trying to think what order it is. I don't know if it's pedestrian, then bike, and then the cars, and then there's another light for the cars. They have 2 lights. But I mean, you got to think and you got to proceed carefully, you know.
Yeah, don't drive high.
Well, you know, brother, that's another topic, you know. So, you know, of course, they've legalized, you know, weed in the state of Washington. And, you know, you're supposed to do just smoke it at home, you know. But you used to be out in the public there, folks are smoking and carrying on, you smell it. And sometimes it would be so bad. Sometimes you'd be driving down the street and you can smell it from somebody's car. You got to roll up your window so you don't get the contact high. Or if somebody knows you, you come up to, hey, brother, how you doing? You smelling like, you know, 4 days of bad weed, you know. So it's, it's a lot. Just walking and driving, it's a lot. And like I said, driving, one thing about driving, especially on the freeway, is that far left lane, theoretically, in a lot of places, it's just for passing. But people will be in that lane slowing down traffic. All they have to do is get over it, but they'll stay in that lane for miles and miles. And you try to get by them, but sometimes you can't because there's other cars. And I heard one time State Patrol was saying, yeah, people need to move over because what they do, they end up backing up more traffic, causing more congestion. So if you're in the far left lane and you're doing whatever speed you're doing and there's cars behind you, move over to the right. It's not hard, but then they get upset. Well, I'm just going to let the person tailgate me because I have the right of this road and I'm just going to go. Move your behind over.
And I'm doing the speed limit.
Yeah.
That's the other thing they'll say. Yeah.
Maybe so, but move over. It's not that hard. And we won't tell you about the people who drive the cars. You know what cars they are too. We'll just go on. We'll proceed on.
Oh, my goodness.
You will proceed on.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're making light of stuff, but stuff is serious, but we're kind of making it light in kind of a joking way because I think people maybe remember it more and it's more plausible to accept it. So.
Well, when I was growing up, there was some golden rules. Mm-hmm. Look both ways before you cross the street.
Exactly.
You know, and that just didn't come from the house. It was on TV, it was in commercials, everything. Yeah. Look both ways before you cross the street. And now, you know, like you say, they have their phone, and they're at the crosswalk, and they're looking for that sign to say walk.
Yes.
And they're on the phone, and they're looking up, and they're on the phone, they're looking up, and they're on the phone, looking up. Bam, when it says walk, they bolt across the street. Now, what are some of the alternatives? You have people that are driving that are high. You have people that are driving that may have a medical condition. You know, they could pass out while they're driving. They could have a stroke while they're driving. Then the car could malfunction.
Or the person is not paying real close attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are all these variables that can happen to hurt the pedestrian. And so the pedestrian doesn't protect themselves by not looking to see what is the condition of the traffic.
Right.
Then you have crazy people that just speeding, you know, and trying to make the light or whatever, go to that yellow light, whatever it is. Yeah. You haven't even checked to see what's going on. And so, and I guess, you know, this whole thing, the topic is about people that don't use common sense.
Right.
But how did that come about, Naeem, where people don't even think about their own safety?
Well, one of the things, and I don't know if this is a stretch, and I'm not blaming the schools, but one of the things, schools used to teach certain things, like civics. I don't know if they still do or not. In college, they take, ethics. You have to have some responsibility for yourself. If you're a pedestrian, the old saying, well, the pedestrian's always right. You might be right, but you might be all banged up or dead. So it's a lot of things in society that we used to get, we don't get. All we now do is get sensationalism. Everything's puffed up. It's not brought down to practical use. It's always, inflated, and these type of issues. So, common sense. You could look at religion. Where religion has lost the common sense factor. Things have gotten mixed into to religion, and just like I was showing somebody on Facebook that the origins of Easter, where the word Easter came from, and what it was, and so forth and so on. And a person said, well, a lot of religion stuff has been mixed up and so forth. And yeah, that's true, but what are we highlighting? Are we highlighting the resurrection of Christ Jesus, supposedly? Or are we highlighting the bunnies and the eggs? So one person responded back, well, it's for the children, So it's like, well, aren't we supposed to teach our children what is real and what isn't? I mean, there are, you have stories. You got to kind of you want the children to be engaged and so forth, but there comes a time when you have to, break stuff down, So it's, there's a lot, and we can get into the rituals even in hours long. What do they mean? What do they represent? They have a deeper meaning. And you can go into that either now or a little bit later, but people are just kind of, I think we're programmed just to kind of go through life and blinders on, just kind of go with the flow, and the people who make the change are the ones who go outside of that flow.
Yes. Yeah. Every time.
Every time.
The change makers, the change agents are the ones that go outside of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess while we're on this, I think about Galileo. Mm-hmm. Copernicus, I think there was one more, but they came up with the reality that the earth was not the center of the universe. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the church had a fit, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made somebody drink poison. I forget which one it was.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him the death penalty and gave him the option of taking poison. Mm. He could do his own.
He could do his own demise, huh?
Yeah. Mm. But the simple fact that, I think the reason was because you're changing the social order. Mm. And so the social order was, we are the best, we are the tops. We're the masters or the kings of the universe. Mm-hmm. Everything surrounds us, orbits us.
Right. And
he showed scientific facts that was not true. Mm-hmm. And they rejected it.
Something told me to wear my other hat. I should have worn my other hat that says, it has on the periodical chart, it has science on it. And it says, science doesn't care what you believe. Yeah,
that's a good point.
I was gonna wear that, but I didn't bring that one. But
science.
Yeah, and we know in religion there are certain things that are symbolic. They're not like this actually happened. They're trying to tell a story and to give your mind a message in a way that hopefully you can to understand, not to necessarily take it literally.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you done drove me into this part of the conversation.
Well, we might as well get into it, and while we're there.
Adam and Eve were the first people. Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. And I think, Cain killed Abel or something like that.
Yeah.
And then one of the brothers went to the land of Nod and took on a wife.
Yeah. Huh.
It's right there in black and white.
Right there, yeah.
But yet they say that Adam and Eve were the first people.
Mm-hmm.
So something ain't adding up here.
Yeah, if there was already some people they went over to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then I listen to the wise, and they say that this is symbolic. A lot of this is just symbolic.
Symbolic language, yeah.
But we look at it as being literal.
Mm-hmm.
As being literal, one more thing, and we'll try to get back to it, I think,
Okay.
but in terms of religion. Now, I was giving this talk about Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I went to the Bible because I had a big picture of white Jesus.
Right, right.
I went into the Bible, I think it's the book of Revelation, and it talks about the color. They were describing what God looked like.
Okay.
Said he had hair that was white like lamb's wool.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me he got kinky hair.
Okay.
Okay? And he had feet that were bronze, the color of bronze brass or something like that.
Dark brass.
Yeah, yeah. So the general concept was that he was a person of color, right? So then I unrolled the picture. I said, no, so who is this?
Yeah, who is this?
And people, that's Jesus, that's Jesus, that's Jesus. So this is really an emotional question, when you believe in Jesus. But the simple point was, well, who is the Bible describing?
Right.
And said, now what you gonna believe? So it's almost like what is pushed emotionally in the society has taken over the rational thinking. I read in the Bible where it talks about the heathens are the ones that go out in the forest and chop down trees and bring them back and decorate them. And said that's forbidden.
Yeah, I think that's in Jeremiah. I forget which
Right.
one. Yeah, it's in Jeremiah. Yeah.
So you bring this to people, and it's for the kids.
For the kids. That's it. If it's for the kids, it co-signs everything.
But the average person would not say, this been in here all the time. How come I overlooked this?
Yeah.
Or why am I being bombarded with this Christmas idea everywhere? It's Christmas spirit, jingle bells, all this kind of stuff. Most people don't say that this don't make sense, or it's a contradiction.
It's a contradiction.
They go with the flow.
Yeah.
They go with the flow.
Yeah.
And going back to walking across the street, that's what everybody does. They just do it.
They just do it.
And talk about getting high, you talk to people now, they say, weed is legal. Like that means something.
Yeah.
It still has the same effect on you when it wasn't legal. Alcohol didn't used to be legal.
Exactly.
And so rituals without understanding.
Rituals without understanding.
All right, so, here's one that always has struck me. Is going to the restroom without washing your hands, but washing your hands after you come out of the restroom.
So you should wash them before and after.
Yeah.
Because you've been out in the world.
Yeah, you've been handling money, you've been shaking people's hands,
Yeah.
you've been touching railings and doing different things. Your hands are obviously dirty and full of germs. But yet you will go into the restroom, touch your private parts that have been enclosed all this time and have not been exposed to the outer world like your hands have.
Yeah.
You will touch your private parts, exposing them to all the germs that's on your hand, then use the restroom, and then, what your parents said, did you wash your hands?
Wash your hands. You wash your hands.
As if your private parts are the ones that are giving you the germs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I said, well, wait a minute here. What about before?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no one teaches you that.
There you go.
No one teaches you that. Yeah. On that. Now, let's talk about diamonds and African Americans. We got enough time. we got about less than 10 minutes. We got about 8 minutes.
Man, Man,
Or you want to get that into
no,
part two?
no. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because I've been a victim of it.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of people I talk to have been a victim of it. Still a victim of it.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw the documentary on blood diamonds,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just had to sit down. They're using child labor in Africa to mine those diamonds and gold.
Mm-hmm.
Child labor. And those kids are getting killed in cave-ins, avalanches, all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they just go on and get some more and put them in there.
Some more kids, some more children, yeah.
And when they, after every day's work, they strip them and search them.
Make sure they don't have no diamonds on them.
And gold.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so with the gold.
With the
that,
gold,
yeah.
okay.
But the point is, they look up the cavities and things.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and it's a racket. And you know, and in studying the diamond racket, it's a racket that's controlled by a certain type of person, certain class of people, and it's
certain families.
It's certain families.
Certain families
Control it, and they actually showed. I think it was it De Beers? I think it was
yeah.
They actually showed how the diamond brokers come to buy the diamonds. This is no negotiation.
Mm.
You know, this is what it is. This is what you pay, and the only time you can get a break is if you've been a long-time customer. They know you. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about for years, because it actually showed a negotiation. And the dude was like buying, you know, $7, $8, $10, $15 million worth of diamonds, and he was asking for some kind of
a discount.
yeah, you know, and they were talking about, well, you know, we don't. And he sat there and bargained with him for about 20 minutes. You know, and they finally gave in and you know, gave him throw a little perks on the side.
Yeah.
But my point is this: for African American people to follow the same course that the general population follows, you know, we're buying into that we, you know, got to have a diamond ring for wedding rings and stuff like this, and diamond earrings and all that stuff. That's what it means. You're serious if you buy your woman a diamond. It's stuff like that. And but look at how it's being produced.
Now, there's there, what do they call it when it's been checked that they didn't have to go through all of those, you know, child labor, or is that a false narrative, or is that something that might be real?
I remember that. I know it's a name. Yeah, they got a name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget it. I know the audience, they know the name there. But it was like it's kind of been checked that it didn't have to go through all this child labor and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like they do coffee and stuff these days. They got a name for that too.
Fair trade.
Fair trade.
Fair trade.
Fair trade. Yeah.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Well, we know if some of that's true, people are going to use that too. They're going to just put the stamp on there.
Yeah, and they can just put the stamp, just like you put the stamp on stuff that's halal.
Yeah.
You know, and other things of that nature. Yeah. So
I brought this up because as African Americans, we should be more sensitive to that. It's our people that are being, it's almost like slave labor. And the simple fact that there are no unions, you know, and they're using child labor, and these children are subjected to losing their life so that we can have the shiny diamond or the gold chains. And so so that's why today I don't wear diamonds. I don't wear gold. You know, I don't wear all that stuff because it's not showing. It's not showing a sign of what you call it, status. You know, I got 2 gold rings or whatever. I mean, I see some people with gold rings on each finger. You know, and man, it's not showing. It's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing to be proud of. You know, and they want to raise their hand, Black Power, you know, and talk about Africa, the motherland, and all this stuff. And they fall into a trap. They fall into a trap. And who's getting that money? We're not getting that money.
No.
Our brothers and sisters in Africa not getting that money. Who's getting that money?
On the same subject, but, well, not on the same subject, but just a little different twist. What country is going into Africa now big time? China. China is going to into Africa big time. And I think our African brothers and sisters are going to make the same mistake when the other colonizers came in. They got the minerals and everything, and they told the Africans to close their eyes and pray, and they gave them the Bible, and then when they left, all their resources was gone. So China's in there now, building up. So I wish, you know, and you know, we don't get a lot of information about Africa. We have to ask people who travel, and they can tell us different things. But I know one thing: China is in there big time now. You know, they're doing stuff, and then it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. We got about a little less than 2 minutes. How you want to close this up here?
Well, China also had a different approach, where they were building up the infrastructure of Africa.
Right.
Roads. They're talking about building railroads and things like this. And it's kind of like a fair exchange. It wasn't so much like we coming in, y'all just sit back and let us take over everything. But even with their approach, I'm talking about the approach is deep. They have people in Africa that are learning African languages. They're teaching the Africans Chinese. They're projecting this thing way into the future.
Way in the future, yeah.
You know, and oh, there it goes.
Well, that's good. We got about a minute.
So I guess we can wrap this up by saying that it's important for people to start thinking more about their safety. And it's also important for parents to teach your children some of the old bedrock conversations, like look both ways before you cross the street. That's just a simple thing. And
the other the golden rule, you know, and treat people like you want to be treated.
Right.
I mean, that's a beautiful rule.
Right.
Beautiful rule, yeah.
And be careful of the food we eat.
Yeah.
Because the people who selling us the food don't care what we eat.
They don't care.
All they care about is making a buck.
It's making the money. Well, on that note, we thank our audience. I know we went into different subjects. We might have to do a part 2. Brother Benjamin Shabazz, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. And we thank our technician, and I won't say his name because he's a humble young man. Thank you all very much, and thanks for watching. Peace and prayers.
Peace and prayers.